All right. Okay. So I'm John. I'm the head of admissions here at Think Tank, and this is part of my alumni celebration interview series. And today I have my amazing friend from India, Shruti. So Shruti, why don't you tell us what you were doing before you came to Think Tank and just say hi to everybody?
Before Think Tank, I did my bachelor's. I have a bachelor's degree in design, and I was specializing in animation film design. So I did dabble a little bit in 3D during my bachelor's, but I did know that back then that actually after my bachelor's, I realized, and after working in the industry for like 6 months, I had like my first job. And during that, I realized that, okay, if I do want to work in the film industry, then probably I'm going to need a much focused, a much higher quality portfolio and showreel, which is what led me to start researching further schools and courses.
Awesome. And so, how did you end up finding Think Tank?
The rookies. Like seriously, it was the rookies.
Yeah.
I had Googled and Googled, came across the rookies, and that's what led me for the first time to the Think Tank website. And I remember being
Bing.
blown away.
Uh,
Really, really. And I went down this rabbit hole of looking at all of the alumni showreels, like from environment showreels to character showreels. And back then, I remember thinking that, okay, if I do sign up at Think Tank and if I do finish the course, if my showreel is half as good as what the alumni showreels are, then maybe I'll be okay, I'll get a job somewhere.
so I remember way back when we had our first conversation, because everybody has to meet this guy. Shruti told me that she wanted to be an environment artist in film, and I asked her or what was her dream studio, and what did you tell me?
I remember saying double negative back then and ILM because I remember during my bachelor's, I had written emails to both of the companies asking for an internship. And okay.
Okay, awesome. So you ended up coming to Think Tank, which is awesome. And you spent 64 weeks with us in our online CG asset creation program. What was the experience like going through the program?
Okay, for me, I had actually skipped the foundations since
Right,
I
you
did
did too.
have I
Right.
did, I did. I had skipped foundations because I did have a bit of CG experience before, but I mean, I came into Think Tank knowing that, okay, I know some stuff. I'll be fine. I'll just be specializing and, I know what to do. But then when I came into Think Tanks, I started my intermediate term. That was my first term. And it was too much. It was way too much. Like, so many things to do at the same time. A lot of time management was required, and that's when I figured that, oh my God, you know what, Shruti, you don't know anything. There's still a lot for you to learn. You've just, dipped your finger into the water before. That's all you've done. Now there's so much more left to learn. So yeah, that was my first experience with the intermediate term, and I got comfortable with it like few weeks down the line.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Awesome, awesome. So I've tried to ask everybody this question. Like, what was your moment where you felt like you weren't good enough, or that you had to quit? Did you have a moment like that?
Um, okay, I did. It was okay, a couple of things. The first thing was I was actually supposed to come on campus,
Yeah.
but then I couldn't because of visa issues. So that was like one of my biggest heartbreak because I really wanted to be there in person. And it makes a huge difference when you're doing something online and when you're actually around people and when you're learning.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that was one. And the other huge, I would say, was during my advanced term. And I had just so many things to do. my to-do list was very big, and it was my first time dabbling a huge environment. I remember it was a medieval house, and there was a lot of vegetation in the back. There was a huge grape farm in the front with, yeah, yeah, that's it. It was one of my first big environments, and it was just so much to do because it was my first time with vegetation, first time with speed tree,
Yeah.
and getting everything done in time. I had a lot of imposter syndrome at that time as well.
Right, right. So
This is,
thanks for bringing that up. Like the and sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you there, but like your comment about wanting to come in person and versus online, and that can be such a heartbreaking thing for a lot of people because they want to have that experience of being in person, and unfortunately, visa issues happen all too frequently when it comes to studying in other countries. And the one thing that I love to recognize about you and the community of our students and alumni is that the support they give each other online, because
yeah.
that piece of it, like I know people want to be in person, and for most of my career I've always been like, gotta be in person, gotta be in person. And then I watch students, literally separated by half a world, working together and supporting each other, even through moments of heartbreak and imposter syndrome and things like that, and then getting to be successful. Thank you for sharing that. So the next piece is mentorship. That final 16 weeks in your program, you get to choose your industry mentor and do your final project. Who did you end up using as your mentor?
It's Mark. Shout out Mark. It was Mark and Toyin. I'm so sorry if I'm pronouncing your name wrong. I'm just gonna go with Mark for now. But he was amazing. He was an amazing mentor, a very, very supportive.
Right.
Yeah, and he helped me throughout my the entire project.
That's awesome.
It
How
took
long?
me around, yeah, exactly. How long did it take me? It took me 6 months,
Yeah.
6.5 months. So it did cross over the 4 month mark.
Yeah.
My goal and my mentor's goal, both of our goals was to, get it done within 4 months.
Yeah.
But then uh, we chose quality then in the end that, you know what, if it exceeds a little bit,
Yeah.
it's fine. Just get a good, make it look good.
Yeah.
And he was supportive as well.
And that's also a good point. Here, I'll stop my screen share here. Yeah, that 16-week final term working one-on-one with a mentor. Obviously students aspire to complete the project, but we know that people don't always get it all the way there, and they really, this project it's about perfection, because good doesn't get you a job, great gets you a job, right? That's in the immortal words of Scott, one of the think tank founders, that you've got to be great, good isn't good enough.
Yeah.
And a lot of students do take an extra month or two. In some cases, like Alex, who did another one of these interviews, he took like an extra 5 or 6 months, because you got to get it to that point of being great. And so you graduated, and you landed your first job, and it was at one of your two dream companies, DNEG. And as everybody probably noticed on Shruti's art station, she's an environment generalist at DNEG. How did you find that job?
LinkedIn. The one of the Indian DNEG recruiters had posted a LinkedIn post with a Google form, and it was basically saying that, oh, they're looking for environment artists. A requirement was also Houdini, and one of my actually during my mentorship term, I had just touched into Houdini, like just a little bit, like I just touched it, and I came back right into Maya.
Yeah.
But it was something I could still talk about in the interview,
Yep.
which I did. So I told them, I was very honest about it, that this is okay, this is what I did in Houdini. And they were like, okay, yeah, that's okay. So then most of the Houdini skills I then picked up later on, once I joined in during the training and with the awesome people who are at DNEG at the moment.
It's so good. So I remember our conversation when you got your job, and I had to laugh because I always like to go back to the first conversation we have, so we kind of close the circle. And one of the things that I often say to students is you got to have a dream, right? Because you got to shoot for the stars and hit the moon, and Shruti shot for the stars and hit the stars. by landing her dream job right out of the gate. So I'm so happy for you. That's such an awesome thing. So one last question for you, and I always kind of end with this. If you had a piece of advice that you would give to anybody who is an aspiring artist going into film, what would you say?
I really believe in manifestation. And if you pair that with really focused work, you're gonna get to where you want to be, you know? Like
Yes.
it's it's a very strong pair. You just need to believe in yourself, manifest what you want, and have focused work. Like I would say look up job descriptions, look at the skills that currently companies are looking for and make sure to integrate those in your showreel. If you have that, you'll have something to talk about in the interviews and you'll be good to go. And just keep swimming, as Dory says from Finding Nemo. Yeah, just keep swimming. You got this.
Just keep swimming. So Shruti, you just hit on so many really great things that I think I've heard. I've done a bunch of these interviews now, and yours is going to be the third one that gets posted. It's going to get posted right after we get off here. Portfolio. You've got to have a specialized portfolio that shows you can do the job. Perseverance, perseverance, and that positivity. Right. Don't give up. Keep going and be a good person. And that's the thing, right? Just be positive. And so I think with just so much negativity in the world and people naysaying things, people are still achieving their dreams, and you are the personification of that. So thank you so much for sharing your story. I appreciate it. Awesome. Okay, so Shruti, thank you so much. I'll stop the recording. Thank you, thank you.
Thank you.